Right out of the ballpark. It was a setup.
It doesn't have to be. There's no need for integrity or cleverness. Uh, Dennis, my mate,
Hello, mate.
bro,
Hey, we shot down the China balloon.
over where?
I don't know. Where was it? Montana?
Myrtle Beach, baby.
Oh, was it? That's where
Yep.
it was?
Yep. It flew over Asheville and Charlotte, and then over Myrtle Beach. They waited for it to get out over the water, and they were like,
Bam.
pop that motherfucker.
Yeah, well, they recovered it. They analyzed it today and found that at one time it had surveillance capabilities for communications, but apparently they stopped sending the information to the computers in China. But what they didn't say, of course, that you and I would ask as our very next question, well, did they store it on the balloon to be retrieved later? But there's no expectation that when they send a balloon out, they're going to get it back.
Right. You have to constantly be. So there's this interesting YouTube series where this guy who is one of my son's favorite YouTubers, he's playing pranks on the people that steal packages off of other people's porches. Because apparently in the States it's common for Amazon or whatever to just leave shit on your porch.
Yep.
And then you come home at the end of the day and there's your package. So he came up with this thing where he made all of these boxes that look like they are Apple HomePods are the thing that looks like it's an Apple smart speaker, and they would deliver these to different houses, and when they were taken, they would when the box was opened, it would like explode with a bunch of glitter and shit, and that was interesting the first year. But he's gone iterating because he's an engineer. He used to work at NASA. And every single year they make it a little bit better, where they have sensors under the doormat that can detect exactly when it's been taken. They can follow behind in a car to follow where the thing goes. And they've put like, you don't even have to like use high technology to like transmit to live transmit video these days. On the sides of the box, they just put like 4 different cell phones that are like recording video on the outside of the box. So like when the person picks it up, like they because it's being transmitted constantly to the cloud, like if they destroy it, like we still have all of that video. The same thing with the Chinese
balloon, right?
Like
right,
if you're constantly sending all your data, then all of that is safe, and no matter what happens to the actual device, whatever. Anyway,
so they've got cell phones inside the box with a little hole cut for the camera.
And there's other things as well as the glitter bomb. They do this thing where you can buy like really stinky fart spray. And so like they do this thing where like it shoots out this stuff and like it makes the thief's car stink for a while or whatever.
Now, do they use it to help the authorities catch the thieves?
They also do that. They do help they do send all of this to the police eventually, but
it's what they're doing is against the law.
Well, if I put a funny prank bomb on my porch, is that against the law?
No.
And if someone comes and takes it and I make it explode in their living room,
Is that
Is that
against the law? No.
okay? So
What is against the law?
yeah,
Unwarranted surveillance. Well, it's warranted, though, isn't it? I guess it's warranted because it's a commission of a crime. So
right.
I guess nothing is. It just strikes me as something of it could be illegal. It all depends, I suppose. If they're actually, as the criminal would say, you know what? I've walked by this house a million times. I've never taken anything off its porch. In fact, I've never taken anything off the porch, but they enticed me. They set me up.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the defense.
right.
Not that it would work.
The diamond ring in the jewelry store window was just so pretty.
No, if the diamond ring was taken out and put on the counter and the attendant walked away, right, and then hid in the storeroom to see whether he would take the ring, that's a setup. That's framing.
I mean,
That's
okay.
that's a defense. It's not against the law, but it would mean that the guy could get away.
Yeah, I don't actually know how all of the criminal stuff pans out, and they, for sure, when they publish these videos, they do like blur out the people's faces, like unless they get. For some of them, they actually like get the thief's permission to like, can we use your face in this video?
So they can be famous. Why else would you do it? It'd be stupid.
Right. So,
of course, if you're stealing packages off a porch, how smart can you be?
Indeed. So, anyway, that's basically what China was doing. The glitter bombs.
Well, it's much to do about, very little actually. I mean, they started tracking it in Alaska as soon as it crossed in, and there didn't appear to be any surveillance capability at the time. So it might have been something that they weren't going to turn it on when you're over Alaska. I mean, it's the remotest region of the United States. There's no sense in listening in or taking pictures in Alaska.
That's why we should hide all the stuff there.
In Alaska, right? Well, that's where Superman is up in the Arctic Circle, right?
Right.
In the fucking ice cave.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's like subvert expectations, man.
Yeah.
So
speaking of this, this Joe Biden mentioned this in the State of the State. He didn't mention the balloon because his speechwriters probably said, well, if we're going to talk about espionage and stuff like that, we don't want to use the word balloon because that sounds clownish. So what he said was they wouldn't put up with any breaking of any intelligence and what. I mean, it's very strong. Did you see any of his remarks? Because I have a couple of stories I want to tell you about.
I saw none of his remarks. I listened to a podcast that was recorded the day of the thing, and they were talking about, is he going to say the word balloon? Is he going to say the word China?
He only mentioned China 4 times, which is surprising. But
China.
China, hey baby, what if you if you were to look at the pre-press about it, it said that he's going to talk about building partnerships and not be antagonistic and blah blah blah, and in that way, it would be like every other State of the Union
boring
that's ever been delivered.
Sure,
facts, figures, praising, promises, whatever. So that was the pretext, and it's like, well, it's that's particularly boring. So Joe Biden comes out, and as he walks up the aisle, as it always takes, well over 10 minutes to shake hands. He looks great. He's got such a beautiful smile. Shaking hands. He gets up. He thanks everybody, and I
love all you guys. You guys
and then he tells everybody to sit down, and it looks over at his wife, and he says, well, we're glad this is off the cuff. Glad the State of the Union is today. And just speaking of my schedule, my wife's got tickets to go to the Super Bowl, and I have to stay home. And he looks at the camera and he says, life isn't fair. something like that. He's funny. He's funny.
So humanizing.
It's ad hoc.
Yeah.
So he launches into a speech, and the very first thing he does, so politically smart, first thing he does, after he thanks the vice president, introduces the vice president, he says, and I also want to tell you that we are blessed with a new Speaker of the House who I think will become a powerful ally. We've already had one very positive meeting. I want to recognize and please give an ovation for Kevin McCarthy. All the Republicans had to applaud. They had to stand up and applaud. So what's he doing? He's bringing him in. And then when they're applauding, he looks at Kevin McCarthy and he says, I hate to ruin your reputation, Kevin, but it looks like you're going to be able to work with me. Funny.
He said that? That's so good.
Funny, laughing when he says it, and then he gives the statistics and the jobs, remarkable stuff. Lowest unemployment rate in, 12 and a half, 15 years. Paid off $2 trillion in the national debt compared to his predecessor that had doubled it from the prior 200 years. Fact after fact. And then he starts getting into budget stuff and this and that, and by way of background, you may have heard of the name Senator Rick Scott from Florida,
yes,
who was the senator in charge of working with Mitch McConnell for the reelection of senators. He was the top guy. He made a pretty big mistake of releasing a pamphlet that's called Reclaiming America, that says that every law needs to have a 5-year sunset and then reconsidered for a vote. Every law, meaning, of course, Social Security and Medicare. Mitch McConnell went crazy on him and said, are you out of your mind? Are you trying to lose all the next elections too? This is off the table. But it's already released. There's pamphlets printed. Then there's another senator by the name of Mike Lee, who happens to be one of the dudes, right, that got a call during the January 6th insurrection. Mm-hmm. And oops, it was the wrong number. It was Donald Trump. He didn't want to talk to Mike Lee. He wanted to talk to somebody else. Mike Lee is on his fast dialing. Mike Lee is recorded, unbeknownst to him, at a fundraiser saying, no politician will say this. I'm going to risk my career and it's worth it, but we need to completely eliminate Social Security and Medicare and redo it in a way that we can afford. It's on tape. So that's the background.
So,
So there's more to the story, of course. The punchline is coming.
Redo. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. There's no sunset on Social Security or Medicare. It's a permanent program. And so that's the background. And the other piece of background that wasn't mentioned that you should know is that when Donald Trump was president of the United States and the Republican Party met, for the first time in their history, the Republican Party failed to create a platform.
Right. They were just like whatever
Donald, and they haven't fixed it since.
Whatever Orange Boy says.
And when Biden and everyone says to the Republicans, to McCarthy, et cetera, so you want to hold hostage the national debt and you want cuts, what will you cut? And they won't tell them. And so this is all background. So this is what Biden does. He says, now, listen, he says, I'm going to tell you this straight up. It is not going to happen on my watch that what some Republicans want is cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and to Social Security. And as he's saying, that's not going to happen. There's a bunch of people booing and yelling out, liar. And he looks,
what a great tradition this is now.
He looks at the audience, and he says, "What? You don't? There, none of you want to cut Social Security or Medicare? I'm not saying the majority of you. I'm not even saying there's more than a few, but it's pretty clear that you are talking as a body about, and they start yelling at him again. And he looks at them square, looks at them and yells and says, "You don't believe me? Look it up. It's on the record."
Nice.
And they boo him more. And then he says, "Oh, so what? You're not going to cut Social Security or Medicaid or Medicare? Is that what you're saying?" And there's this applause.
Right.
And he says, "Well, why don't we all stand up and commit right now to not cutting Social Security and Medicare?" The whole chamber got up and applauded. There was nothing they could do. He negotiated the motherfucking budget live at the State of the Union. Never been done before. Never been done before. In fact, politics has never really been inserted into the State of the Unions other than Trump's underhanded stuff. This was remarkable.
Wow. Now I kind of wish that I had seen it.
Well, there's a tape of it. So what does Biden do? He started a 40-stop tour that's basically for the 2024 reelection, and it's called the Post-State of the Union Tour. And when he was in Wisconsin, he told them all the story about what happened. And he said, "So you know what? Now we've got everybody." He said, "Here's the pamphlet that Rick Scott printed." He holds it up. "Let me read it to you." And then he says, and I didn't know this at the time, but there's a tape of Mike Lee speaking. He said, "So I'm glad that apparently I got them all to stand up and agree to it. It ain't going to happen on my watch. I deliver for you." Crazy applause. Crazy applause. Brilliant.
Who knew that he had that in him? That's amazing.
This was not charted. This oh, I knew he had in him because I know. I mean, I know not to this degree, but I know that he's quick on his feet and he's better when he's dealing with people to people. He dealt with that crowd of people. There were 4 or 5 of them, Bobert and the dipshit from out in fucking Montana, who's wearing, by the way, a white mink stole looking thing. And as one of the announcers said, she looks like she's the Tsarina of Russia.
Wow.
So
it reminds me of how in England where they stand up and yell at each other.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Just how it's like, but that hones their abilities to speak to debate very sharply in a way
and here's another remarkable kind of backstory is that Kevin McCarthy, it was known publicly that he had communication to all of the House members, the Republicans, and said this needs to be respectful. There'll be no shouting out. There'll be none of this. There'll be none of that. And when they first started doing it, Kevin McCarthy, who's on camera the whole time with Biden, and another thing for you to look at when you look at the tape.
Sure, because he's behind the
behind him up in the higher dais, sitting down, and look at the wooden Vice President of the United States, who when Biden is walking in for that full 10 minutes, she doesn't figure out even how to talk to Kevin McCarthy. No one would expect Kevin McCarthy to talk to her. He's just stoic and waiting, but nothing that she's doing to be personable, to try to talk to him. And then if he didn't respond at all, a little roll of her eyes or whatever, all on camera. Right. Instead, she's there wooded. But so that's just a thing. And Biden did thank her at one point, but I'll tell you what, he sure as fuck did not talk to her about her and what she's done at all, because she hasn't done a lot. In fact, there's a furor that her husband has been tapped to do all this anti-Semitic, review and all this stuff. And he's getting all the limelight. And was, celebrated it
Yeah.
I mean, what do you call it?
Yeah. Okay.
Recognize the Holocaust. And
Yeah,
anyway,
she's turning out to be a sort of a wet piece of bread.
well, and there's no doubt Biden's run. This is my prediction. Write it down. And this is this that Biden will not make it through the second year of his term. And
So the
and
next,
she will become the de facto president of the United States. She will run as an appointed incumbent.
okay. So I guess once you've been president with a vice president, you can't run for your second term and be like, nah, I'm going to choose a different running mate. You can't do that.
Yes, you can.
That's
It's been done.
Okay. But
I believe Dan Quayle might have been the example of that.
he was all 8 years, wasn't he?
With Bush, no.
Huh. Well, I mean, he also was not the. He wasn't the shiniest
Bulb in the
rock in the sun.
tree, the
Yeah.
sharpest knife in the drawer,
Yeah.
the freshest avocado in the bunch.
The freshest avocado in the bunch. That's good. Okay, so the State of the Union is strong, is what I'm hearing.
Well, and so here's the other thing he did. My second story. He's talking about his accomplishments. And when he's doing it, he's saying stuff that is jabbing at the Republicans. He's interspersing, though, all of these things, and he's pushing the Republican buttons of small businesses, jobs, economic development. He keeps putting the Republicans in a position that when he says we need to work together to support X, Y, or Z, they have no choice but at least to applaud, some of them eagerly standing up and applauding. This is what Biden did again and again, is he got the Republicans to agree with him. And he said
that's such a Jedi move.
Jedi move. He said at one point, after all this stuff about Social Security, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God.
Fucking cat.
Yeah. That was a thump. He smiled. He looked at the camera. He looked at his wife. He smiled. And he said, I love a good conversion.
Damn.
I love conversion. And he laughed out loud. And now when he's telling the story, but here's the second story. So he's talking about all these accomplishments. He's talking about the world now, accomplishments in the world, and a leader in COVID, and doing better than most countries in the worldwide economic downturn because of COVID, which he never talks about. He never says that. Even though that, for the educated person, that explains most of it, okay? But as he's doing that, he indicated that he stood up to Chinese President Xi. I probably got that name wrong. But, and he looks at the camera and he says, did anybody else in the world do that? Name me one leader who did that. And then he says, that's louder, looking at the camera, name me one leader who's done that. I'm standing up for you. I'll tell you, man.
We haven't had that level of
oration
and just like I mean, Trump liked to think of himself as the alpha male, bravo, like the strong guy, but like Obama didn't even do shit like that.
No, Obama was
Obama was
Obama was
the intellectual.
was a natural orator, but he did not campaign. He delivered a sober, realistic, all business, very wonky delivery because at the end of the day, he is a policy wonk.
Right.
Biden's bread and butter and Obama's are different. Obama wasn't a hug 'em, chug 'em, grab hold of 'em kind of guy. He was aloof. He was cool as a cucumber. He was aloof.
Yep.
You know, and Biden is, you know,
Biden wants to get down there with the people and be like,
with the people.
I'm one of y'all, man.
There's a footage of him when he was running the campaign, and there was a dude he coming up to him and saying something negative about the unions and about unionization. And Biden said back to him and kind of pointed and was kind of poking him in toward the chest or in the chest or whatever. And the guy persisted. And Biden said, "You want to take this outside? Let's take this outside." And widely reported, he wasn't saying it to be an asshole. He meant it.
But take this outside, as in like we're going to get the fisticuffs.
Yes. You want to take this outside? No, and of course, if the guy would say, "No, I don't," and then the response is, "Well, then shut the fuck up."
But Joe's like 100 years old.
It doesn't matter how he's 81. It was 70, 78 at the time, but it doesn't matter how old you are to be able to say that to somebody, particularly when you know their response is going to be no. That's why you say it.
Right.
You're not going to say that to somebody who says, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah, you're not going to say that to Muhammad Ali. You're going to be like, yeah.
No, I don't. I've said it to plenty of people, and their size doesn't much matter.
No. And I'm not. It's not about size. It's about
pugilistic ability.
Pugilism. Yeah. Capitalism. Pugilism.
Yeah, you're not going to say it. Well, if you say it to a boxer, the boxer's just going to look at you and punch you right in the fucking nose. That's the way he'll answer that question. Yeah. No, we don't need to take it outside because I just knocked your ass out.
I can just do it right here.
Boom, you're out cold.
Yeah. Well,
so that leadership thing, and then so listen to this. So guess who delivers the Republican response to the State of the Union? Let me give you some background.
No, can't guess.
The new governor of Arkansas.
Don't know who that is.
Sarah Huckabee.
Oh, fuck. Sanders.
Yes.
She's a governor now?
Yes. The youngest governor in the country at the age of 40.
Wow.
She looks like freaking Humpty Dumpty. So listen. Her message.
Not fat shaming, just
her message.
That's what yeah.
And I quote, "It's time for us to tell the difference between normal and crazy. And we need a new wave of Republicans to lead this nation. It's our time," right? Just absolutely clearly targeted at Trump. This is the message the Republican Party wanted. Now, let me ask you this. Who better to deliver that message? But wait a minute. A Trump spokesperson?
Yeah.
A MAGA supporter? What? She ran on all the MAGA stuff and now, your day has come. Hello, Sarah. You sure don't seem like the best messenger for that message.
Yeah.
It's so dull, I just turned it off.
But I think the people that cozy up to Trump do so knowing how fake his appreciation is of them, and therefore are also totally like it's all a big agreement of I'm going to side with you as long as you're good for me.
Yeah, well,
And they all know that of each other.
right. So,
And therefore, when it, like, if there was someone that was super loyal to Obama, for example,
yes.
and then that person came out and was anti-Obama, that would be more surprising to me, because I feel like that house has a greater sense of loyalty and than the House of Trump, that is just like no honor among thieves sort of a thing.
Well, and it's now just happening. Trump's holding his first events, and you know that he's in trouble when he's starting to. People are starting to refer to them as more intimate. What they mean to say is the fucking crowd didn't show up.
That's funny.
But he's taken on DeSantis, and so DeSantis hasn't declared yet. But you know who has is Nikki Haley. Do you know who she is?
I do. That's the South Carolina lady that
Former governor.
Yep.
And a good governor, and then became our ambassador to the United Nations for years.
Yes.
And was quoted as saying not all that long ago that she would never run against Trump. And she kind of apologized to him publicly. It was just fucking awkward.
Look, if the pendulum has to swing in the other direction, she's better than all the other knuckle fucks that have their hat in the ring.
Here's the latest polling shows that Biden does his best against Trump.
Right.
And he actually,
but that's like that's like saying that people think that I can win a race against a toddler. It's like, yeah, but if you put an actual athletic adult against me, then
yeah.
So
well,
I don't know.
And the thing is, I shouldn't even mention the poll because it's absolutely stupid. I mean, it's if the election were held today. Well, first of all,
those are all such stupid polls.
It isn't being held today. And second of all, who are you calling exactly?
Yeah, bull crap. Like polls.
They've been notoriously, for the last two national election cycles, they've been so off. So off. 3, actually, because Trump was never predicted to win. He was as shocked as everyone. But anyway, those are my political views.
Okay, can we transition to fiction?
Sure, I wish we would.
I have been a super good homework boy.
Oh, you're a good boy.
You're such a good boy. Who's a good boy? Yes, I am.
Good.
Yes. And I watched, the first thing I watched was Melancholia.
Oh, man.
Which
when you
is
were done, were you
quite a movie. So there's another movie that I've watched called, it's called like Second Earth or something like that.
Yes, I've seen that too.
That feels sort of in this genre, but
only in the broadest sense.
Only in the broadest sense, yes.
Because another giant planet is involved. That's about it.
Yeah.
But the reflective life in Second Earth, that's
okay. I'm sorry I brought that up. That's not really related.
I'm sorry that I'm talking about it.
Fuck.
If you're sorry you brought it up, so fine, I won't talk about it. Go ahead. Anyway, Melancholia. So, what did I promise you about the movie relative to Kirsten Dunst?
You promised me that she would be in every fucking frame and gorgeous.
You said I love Kirsten Dunst, and I said do yourself a favor. That's why you watched it.
Yes.
Yeah. Was I right? And then
God, those cheek dimples, man. Yeah. So It was. I loved how they didn't talk about the astronomical catastrophe for like the first half of the movie. It was very much like Deer Hunter, where they had like the wedding that takes place for like forever at the beginning,
Yeah.
and uh, and man, the bit at the beginning where they're clearly like super in love, going to their wedding, and that was just fantastic.
As it turns out, not so much.
Right, exactly. But like
As it turns out, really not so much.
right.
The golf course scene. There'll be no spoilers here, but
Well,
the golf
no,
course
I'm
scene,
gonna. That's my second point. My first bullet point is the groom's father. Is actually the father of the actor of the groom.
yes,
Skarsgård, yeah. Which I was like, oh wow, that's cool. So my second point. This has to be the first and maybe only movie with a sand bunker rape.
Rape. She raped him.
She raped him. Yes.
He was willing and said we had great sex. So what is it? Why is that a rape?
Okay. Right. But like
you're trying to be salacious.
No. If women can rape men, that is how it's done.
This wasn't that.
I think it sort of was. I think she pushed him down.
Yes, and I think he went, "Oh my God, I can't believe my luck. This is great." And he said later, "You and I should be partners. I mean, we've already had such great sex."
Yeah,
that's not what somebody who's raped says.
Yeah, I guess, but.
So you want to state that she was the aggressor, and
yes,
and it might have been unclear how willing he was, but and now that this image is ingrained in your brain,
right?
Do you look frame by frame? Was there some point when he was trying to push her away in any way?
He tried to get up, and she pushed him back down. Yeah.
Oh.
I think. I don't know. It was very.
He didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never. Okay, we'll back it back down to sand bunker sex, which is, I think, a new genre of movie.
Why would you do it there instead of on the green? I don't believe they were in the bunker, were they?
They were.
It's softer.
Yeah, people claim that like beach sex is interesting, but like there seems like there's a bunch of little particulate crap that
gritty.
Yeah.
You know why they like it? Because it's gritty.
Yeah, indeed. I was saying that Melancholia is this genre that I love of a movie or thing where the protagonist slowly goes insane. Like, she was already unwell at the beginning of the movie, but
you know why? Do you know what she had wrong with her?
Tell us, Mr. Diagnostician.
She suffered from melancholia.
Whoa. That's why. Yeah. Wow. And I also love the genre of how society reacts to an astronomical catastrophe. Like, there was that movie a while back called Don't Look Up. I'm sure we talked.
Yes. Which actually apparently got poor attendance.
Yeah, it was
and postscript bad.
So
reviews.
Star-studded, and no one wanted to see that genre.
And I never saw it. What was the name of it?
Don't Look Up.
Was it a Netflix?
Or
can't
Apple
remember
TV
that.
or something. It was it was super famous actors acting.
Yeah, Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio
And
um,
Steve Carell maybe,
what's her name?
and
Jennifer
yeah,
Lawrence.
and wow,
Two of
good
my
memory.
favorite actors.
And it was about like the world ending, and they went and they told the president, and the president was like, can we wait until after the midterms before
Yeah,
we
president
say,
was played by Meryl
yeah, before we
Streep.
say that the world is ending? And it was just like, it felt so correct in the moment of how, because we were at a time where like vaccine information was not being well distributed, et cetera. Anyway,
Well, and this talk about star-studded. I mean, DiCaprio and Lawrence are like small fry compared to Meryl Streep.
well, yeah, sure.
She's the most nominated actor of all time.
True.
I don't know if she's the most prolific winner. I believe she is.
So let's go back to Melancholia.
Melancholia.
They got a lot of stuff wrong with relation to how stuff would look in the sky. Like I, I'm kind of I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to looking at the planets and this moon and stuff, and the idea that a planet would be coming from the other side of the sun directly towards us and would be fully lit like a full moon is like, that's not the way that works.
So if let's assume for a second that the reason that it's coming toward Earth is that for reasons unknown, it's off its normal orbit.
Right.
Why wouldn't it appear in the sky at some point just like a second moon, looking just like a second moon? Because the second moon is a planet in an orbit within the side of the Earth.
Right.
I don't think what you're telling me is correct.
Okay. That's
If the moon got closer to the Earth, let's say that instead of the planet Melancholia, it was in fact the moon. You think at some point the moon wouldn't be lit like that, and we couldn't see it better and better and better?
So the moon is full when it's on the opposite side of the Earth as the sun.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, it would be, but if it got closer, it would start to have a lunar eclipse with the Earth.
I see.
And
I think I do follow that. I got you. Wow, that's
and
quite.
If like in the same way that
an analysis.
In the same way that you never see Venus high in the sky. Venus is always low in the sky. Why is that? Because
Venus, bum, 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 always high in the sky.
No, never high in the sky.
Bum, bum, bum. Never
because
high. Always low.
Because it's always close to because it's closer to the sun than we are. So if you see it lit, it's because the sun is about to come up and you see it lit, or the sun is about to go or has just gone down.
And it's really not lit, it's just reflected.
Well, yeah. Lit. That's what I mean by lit. It's
reflecting the light, lit, yes.
Are the actors on the stage lit?
Are you in fact, do you tonight meet that definition?
I need more light to be lit, but I'm pretty lit.
And what kind of light do you have in that bottle there that I saw you pick up earlier?
It's just a little Tennessee light.
A little Jack Daniels.
Little Jack. So, continuing on with my so Kiefer Sutherland. Wow, I was not expecting him.
Yeah, and a despicable character. Despicable. Little did we know how despicable, but a
He just
coward
like fucking left.
beyond and killed himself beyond beyond the freaking pale of cowardice, leaving his son and his wife to fend for their
Right.
own and running into the barn to kill himself. I mean, what a vile character, and always reassuring her that it would be
Yeah,
okay
right.
and this and that, and wanting to do stuff with his son, and then he just, wow, that was a bit of a shock.
Yeah. The
It was, this, and part of my theory is that the story is really about what it feels like to have melancholia, to be ill in that way, and the way that you feel is that what's the sense in doing anything? Nothing matters, because for all we know, the world's going to end any minute. So this is like, welcome to my world. That's why she could handle it and nobody else did very well, because she's like, I always feel this way.
right. And
What do you make of her midnight bathing in the pool on the grounds of the estate in the moonlight?
yes.
What? Very strange. Welcome, to say the least, but very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what was going through that character's head. Like, she was already so far broken in that way. I don't know what was motivating her at that point. Like, from the beginning, when she sort of started to lose it at her wedding, where she was just like, it's time to cut the cake, but I'm going to go take a bath. It's like, what?
Yeah, very well detached, and who cares?
But why would you have a wedding when the world is about to end?
Because it's something that
Feels that
her beau said, we've got to do this. Let's really, really do this. And everybody agreed, and her sister agreed, and everybody agreed, yes, let's do this while we can do this. And it's sort of like one of those choices,
Okay, I kind of agree with
sort
that.
of like the man and woman getting married before he goes off to war. Same thing.
I kind of agree with that, because my the rationale behind my wedding was mostly just to have a great party with friends and family.
And it did.
The actual.
You were looking forward, of course, to being wed to your wife. I mean, there was that aspect of it too, right?
I mean, that was
needless to mention, I might say.
Married to who? No.
So the party would be the second.
No.
thing,
But
not the first.
the having of a wedding. Is the big party thing. Like, you can go and get married, like at the local town hall, whenever.
I think I was invited to your wedding, wasn't
I think I specifically did not want you there.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's it. I knew it was something like being invited.
Like, not Dennis. So yeah, there's that, and it's one other thing, the little apparatus that Kiefer said that the kid invented, of let's hold this stick to your chest and make the ring the same size as the thing.
It's pretty ingenious.
I thought that was super clever. Like, because we are so bad at determining the size of and the change of the size of objects, and that's very clever. Like, there's actually there's a thing called the moon illusion, where when the full moon is low in the sky, it looks bigger than when it's high in the sky. Which I'm sure you've experienced, but it's totally.
How about the super moon?
No. it's just totally an illusion that when the moon is nearby trees or buildings or something, like it looks bigger than when it's way up there and not near any.
How about Cosmo's moon?
Who?
Cosmo. Cosmo. Look, it's Cosmo's moon. Look at how big it is. It's Cosmo's moon.
You are.
I'm coming to bed, darling. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, this is like if I have to smack you again, if you're gonna bring the yeah. Moonstruck, baby.
Yeah.
I got it. So
I'm taking you to the bed. When I'm done, there'll be nothing but your bones. You're a wolf. You're a wolf. You eat your own paw to just, snap out of it.
it only took me 100 episodes to see that. So
I know. But anyway, the moon, Melancholia. So what did you think of the ending? Where did it leave you emotionally?
I mean, it was kind of perfect. It's a reflection of our lives in general. Of when it's over, and there's nothing left.
But so, what was your emotional response?
My emotional response was, yeah. I mean, I don't even think they were like holding hands or anything when the world ended.
Yes, they were.
They were? Okay, good. But just that sense of finality, and like that, when the idea of the earth being destroyed and all intelligent life
All life
going
period,
away,
intelligent or not intelligent.
going away.
The Republicans would die too.
Right. So that's kind of sad, but.
Well, I was distressed.
Were you?
I was uncomfortable and not happy. I was
Melancholy?
sad. I was rankled. Well, it was the death of the way the mesmerizing part of that death scene was how Kirsten Dunst's character, I wish I recall her name in the movie, handled the boy, which brought her out of her melancholia. And for one of the few times in the movie, she cared for somebody else. Because she
was super
give
selfish
a shit about
the rest of the
anybody's.
time, yes.
I don't know that it was so much selfish as it was the disease, mental health, of self-absorption and introspection, and just internal distraction and depression. She came out of it. She built the cave that he'd been talking about the whole movie. When are we going to build the cave? All through the movie, and next time, and blah blah blah, and they finally did it with sticks. That's how the movie started, in the slow-mo of the boy with a knife carving the sticks for the cave. That was riveting. And of course, what was interesting about the movie, from that moment, you wondered, when is that going to happen? What is that all about?
It's called filmmaking.
Yes, as it turns out, what they call your premonition.
Yes. Foreshadowing.
That's better. That is what they call it. So that's good. Let's switch. Is we're quickly moving through
Well,
our hour here, but we had a
one
big
other
break.
one other quote that I wrote down from Melancholia was, "Oh yeah, the planet just gave us a flyby, and it took away part of our atmosphere, and that's why you're having trouble breathing." And I was just like, "Damn, that's strangely pseudoscientific, and like might actually." Like the whole fact that they didn't talk about gravity at all, because the tides would have been super fucked up when a huge planet the size of Earth came by. It would have pulled all the oceans in that direction.
Assuming that the planet approaching had gravity, what makes you think that a planet has to have gravity?
Jesus Christ, Dennis. Does it have mass?
Yes.
Then it has gravity. Okay.
Make the connection for me. Is there like a formula or
Gravity
a song
based,
you can
like
sing? That
the more mass an object has, the more gravity.
You mean the Earth's gravity is is affecting? We know we have gravity. Earth has gravity, so the Earth's gravity is affecting the planet, and our tides are affected accordingly. You don't know that. You don't know that if a planet's bigger than ours, when you land on another planet, like to say the moon, is the moon a planet?
No, but we'll go with that. Yes.
It's a proxy for a planet. When you're on the moon, there's not much gravity
because the mass is less. Yes.
So in Jupiter, is there going to be? You won't be able to stand up because there's so much gravity.
That and there's not a floor. Yes.
There's not
floor,
a what?
A ground.
Because it's gas. Okay. Boy, you do know a lot about planets and shit.
The physics of this is pretty abominable, but let's leave that aside. Let's skip over to the next order on the bill. Your Honor is doing fine, but I really want to talk about the zombie show.
Well, are they zombies? No, they're not zombies. They're zombie-like, but they're not zombies. They're diseased. They're not post-dead. They're not zombies.
Wow. Okay. What
They're not dead. They're not dead and come in post-death reborn as zombies.
But they're not curable either. They're not curable either.
Zombies?
No, the Last of Us infected.
They're not curable. You don't know that.
Okay.
Wow. I mean,
are we going for?
You can't just.
Are we
say
going
stuff.
for a zombie genre or not? I think we are.
Well, it's zombie-like. There's no doubt. It's a very like zombie-like movie, but that doesn't mean you can say stuff about it that's not true.
I love how you challenged me on the very first fucking principle.
What do you think the central theme is of the episodes you've watched? Why is he taking care of the girl?
Yeah. Look. Yes. He's taking care of the girl because potentially there's a cure for whatever this is that is causing people to turn into brain eaters.
Her blood is the cure.
Yes. But okay, so let's.
You've gotten off on a bad track here. Let's start over.
Let's go back.
Start over. Hey, have you seen The Last of Us? It's sort of like, in some ways, it's sort of like they kind of look like zombies, but they're not zombies at all. What do you think?
So, I generally dislike the zombie genre.
Including zombie-like
genre. Don't use the Z word too much.
That was a productive discussion. It just sure knocked you out of your orbit. So anyway,
No,
back to Zion.
no, but there's. I feel like the the kind of movie and TV show where there are these often slow moving and no longer human as we know them creatures that are coming at us and want to bite us to turn them into the same thing that they are. We will call them wombies. They that type of movie, and just this type of apocalypse where all the laws have broken down and it's every person for themselves. That is such. That's such porn for the red state gun owning people. Like I feel like they want to have a world in which all of the guns that I own are going to come in handy because they're going to be these lumbering people that I can come and do headshots to and feel no remorse about their deaths.
Which takes you to episode 3.
And like that's such a. I see that in so much television. Like all of The Walking Dead was basically that,
yes.
And all of the to use the Z word, all of those movies are very much like in the same way that in a World War II movie, if someone shoots a Nazi, that's not, you don't have to question the morality of that. And we love the idea of being able to shoot. The red state people love the idea of being able to shoot people that are coming into our territory, and we can kill them and feel no remorse.
Right. That's quite a backstory of the girl and whatever history she
but
has.
that's what I feel like this is touching on. And one thing I wanted to point out was that when they did the first of all, they've done a great job of cutting between the times from 2000 to 2023. I love when they cut to 2023. There was a guy on a street corner with a Gore Lieberman T-shirt, which I thought was like, that's so fucking like well.
Right. So, having said everything you said about the Z genre and all that, what did you like it? You must have liked it enough if you watched all the 4 episodes.
So
you wouldn't waste your time if you didn't like it, would you?
At the midpoint of the first episode, when it was clear that there were like creatures moving weirdly towards our protagonists, I was like, I'm out. I'm done with this. And I mentioned this to some friends, and they were like, yes, you're not entirely wrong on the first episode, but keep going. You're gonna it gets better. And so on that suggestion, I kept going, and yeah, it got way better.
The acting's very good. The writing's very good.
This was made by I forgot the people that made Chernobyl.
Yes. Well, and you don't know much about Game of Thrones, but you've seen the opening of Game of Thrones, and that opening sequence of the emerging fungi.
Yes.
as it's going around is very Game of Thrones-esque
Yes.
as an opening.
And I literally the day before I watched the opening, the first thing, I watched this interesting YouTube video about how there's this single-celled sponge thing that that is really like there's only one, like it's super stupid, but it's also like super clever. Like it can solve our like how best to travel to these different locations most quickly problems, like in a crazy way. But and I'm super the so the show hovers between, like I said, the gun nuts that think it's cool to have as much guns as you can and to kill these people that are coming at you.
This proves it.
But also the blue state hippies that are all into like mushrooms are like the world, man. Like we control them or do they control us, man? And then it all really, like episode 1 and 2 were fine, but episode 3 was like, holy fuck. I think everyone who has watched this has that sees episode 3 is like, okay, this is a different
take.
Beast.
Right. Particularly for that actor who's known to play these types of roles, survivalist type roles. I saw a footage in an article.
Nick Offerman.
Him.
What's his name?
Yes, very good. Hey, so the girl who I guess she's not a child actor as much as she's an adolescent actor, but
she's amazing.
In Game of Thrones, by the way, you don't know this, she played a child queen who was one of the most forceful queens in the world as they knew it in Game of Thrones. And when at these meetings of all the kings and the queens and the leaders of all the tribes, she would stand up and she would say shit, as you would imagine, knowing her acting, in the clearest, most adult, responsible, mesmerizing way. She was so good. And so to see her in this, it's the second thing I've seen her in. She is outstanding.
Wow. I was assuming this was like her breakout role.
Well, in a sense, I mean, it's certainly a bigger role than the one I'm describing.
Than Game of Thrones?
Where she was seen in several episodes, and it's just a couple of minutes, minor character, infrequent, but repeated, not just one time.
Wow. Yeah, she is, she's pretty amazing. And like, and I love that she's not like your stereotypical pretty teenager.
Right.
Like she is who she is, and take it or leave it.
Right.
But yes, but man, let's see, some of my notes here.
Pedro Pascal's quite an actor. He's doing a real good understated job.
No kidding.
Very understated job, and I love the dialect, and where he stumbles and can't complete sentences when he's talking about how he feels bad and responsible that she ended up having, thank God, confiscated the gun which killed the perpetrator, right. And how he couldn't get through the sentence. And you gotta, it's just so much more realistic than somebody knowing exactly the right thing to say and this
Yes.
and that. You know,
So often in drama, it's like no one ever says or what
right,
or and and also, well, like this will never happen on film, but it happens every fucking day. Is no one ever says, "Hey, can you go and wash the dog?" And the other person says, "What?" And the other person, "Hey, can you? Hey," because no one ever mishears each other on film.
right.
But like it should
They're
be that way.
clear, right?
Uh, so the first of all, actual people that know about uh, mycology and how funguses work must be livid watching this. Like, I don't think any of that is accurate. Um, and I also wanted to point out the interesting thing that no one I've ever seen in a post-apocalypse show talks about the lack of tampons. But this girl like discovers some tampons and was like, "Sweet, I'm going to take these."
Oh, is that what
Yeah,
those were? I couldn't catch what they
and
were.
it's just like as a movie going audience or a TV audience, like we don't consider women's needs in that way. Which this is just like, wow, well done.
It's quite, yeah, it's an unusual point. You're right, though.
And like when we all are like using leaves to wipe our butts when we poop, it's like the women have other things. And
Did you ever use poison ivy to wipe your ass?
I no, not yet, but I'm still young.
Right. Since you're using leaves 2 or 3 times a week, I'm surprised it hasn't come up.
Yes, we don't have poison ivy here, but the other thing I wanted to point out was this is a genre that I call headshot violence, where it's okay to show to kids because it's just boom and the person's dead. It's much like the stormtroopers in Star Wars. Like they get hit once and they lie down.
Unlike Midsummer.
I have not seen that yet, and I'm scared to. But
Well, it's probably the most graphic, violent.
Yeah, that's why.
Violent graphics it's extraordinary. Lingering shots, which you never see.
Yeah, we'll not show that to the kids. But the
Right. FYI.
and the other note I had was how perfect it is that like the city streets are covered in leaves. Like when they show a city street, it's like there's just leaves blowing around, and to me that's like, yeah, that's how it would be after 20 years of just no.
Is it leaves or is it leaf-like debris? I mean,
Wow, always the pedant. It's leaves.
well,
It's leaves.
I didn't recognize all the debris as leaves. I mean, I don't know why there'd be so many leaves in a city when there's not that many trees.
Okay, well, I saw a bunch of leaves.
Kansas City, which is the last city you saw, is with the QZ. I got plenty of trees there, I guess. Yeah. After 20 years, though, the leaves wouldn't still be there. Did it stop raining? I mean, leaves break down in less than 2 years. So
Yeah, but
I guess the leaves
then
just
they
kept
grow
growing.
and they fall every year. Silly.
Oh,
Think.
because the disease didn't affect trees. Oh, well,
So
yeah.
I'm super interested in this series in the way that it's straddling the blue state, red states divide, like much like callback to Joe Biden. Like it's very much, yes, I need all my guns to defend my property because those guys are coming to take my stuff, versus, yeah, abortion, gay marriage is all okay. So, like, that's sort of a, like, they're hovering on that border.
The series is a game.
It's based on a video game. Yes.
The post show episodes after every episode.
Yeah, you see those. I don't.
And frankly, I never watch them because I don't want to know. I'm not listening to them anymore because I didn't want to hear about comparisons to the game for some reason. I'm not a gamer, and it's not an interest to me. And I just as soon not think that the theater here is somehow the creativity of the theater is from a game. I just don't like. I don't know. It's probably a quirky, prejudicial kind of thing about it. I don't give a fuck about games.
Okay.
Duly noted. Let's move on. Are you going to say I'm sorry I brought it up again? That's a sure cue to me that
I didn't even bring it up. You fucking went there.
Jesus. Hey, I gotta go. It's pushing 6. I'm going to a Duffy's for some live music. Hope to play a little bit.
Okay, so we'll do Your Honor next time.
And I've got a Wednesday coming up. I'll alert you to. I'm going to be in State College, PA. And remind Tab Benoit is coming here in 2 weeks.
Is he going to be on the podcast?
No, but he's going to be. I'm going to be in front of him. It's a Thursday, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, peace out, and be
peace
careful
out, baby.
with the fungal infected folks.
Yes.
Okay, that's it for episode number 175. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/175. There are links to things like the moon illusion and to The Last of Us in general. You can support the show at patreon.com/happyhour. If you give it the gin martinis level, you can enjoy a video of Dennis and me talking nonsense. See you next week.